Don't go where the path leads. Abandon the path and go where you want it to lead. Clara Epson. There's nothing quite like blueprints. It's a story of inheritance, but is that all it's about? What should we, the player, take from our time at Mount Holly? We're going real deep today, so let's start with gameplay. Blueprints is a game of mysteries, where no two playthroughs are the same. Your drafting strategy matters, and luck further shuffles all the possibilities. I have a friend who assembled a power hammer by day 4, but due to his aggressive dead-end drafting style, he didn't find the garage until day 18. And that's cool. There's no rush. There's no intended sequence. This game is designed to be your experience. Consider this. At the end of each day, Blueprint celebrates what you've accomplished by labeling your house something fun. This entire game is excitingly subjective. And that's even true of beating blueprints. Like, genuinely, how do you define that? Is beating the game reaching room 46? Sure, we have an emotional cutscene, the credits roll, and Herbert's letter the following day is this cherry on the sundae, an emotional payoff that's bolstered by the triumphant yet somehow subdued music. Room 46 is where Blueprints ends for most, and it's designed that way. Room 46 is a valid ending. But how about getting every trophy? Is that beating the game? That means you've drafted every room, you've aced the final exam, and you've opened every sanctum key and solved every realm puzzle. All of this requires a deeper understanding of Blueprints' lore and world building. So is that the ending? For completionists, maybe. But how about this? How about opening the final parlor box? You have reached the end of your journey, or there is no end to this journey. Only one of these boxes is true, but which one that is, well, that's subjective. It's up to you. Blueprints begins and ends with you, the child clever enough to reach room 46. In a similar way, Blueprints is about obsession. By choosing that there is no end to this journey, you'll find a spiral symbol in the parlor box. This is the constellation, the spiral of stars. The more you see the spiral, the more you add to its effect. Does it never end? But in this case, the constellation does end. Eventually, you reach a point where the spiral will instantly end your day. Obsession leads to spiraling. It's important to know when to let go, when to move on, but also when to come back. This theme is true of puzzles. Blueprints is the kind of game that nestles deep into your subconscious. Many players dream about Mount Holly. Did you solve the gallery the first time you encountered it? Did you ruminate? Or did the answer come to you from outside the game when you least expected it? Obsession can blind us to what's right in front of us. Take Mary, for example. Our mother was obsessed with overthrowing Fen Ares. At times, she was resolved. At other times, she was depressed. Whether Mary is alive or not, she's gone. She knew the risks, and she left behind her husband and her son. Was the life of Mary worth the crown? The only one who can answer that is us. And to explain that, please enjoy this lore dump. I promise I'm going somewhere with it. Long ago, in the first era of Blueprints, a merchant named Oris rose to power. Through trade and expansion, he built a massive kingdom called Orindia, known for its black flags and banners. In the second era, Orindia was split into 3 equal realms, one for each royal sibling. The oldest son received the central province, the heart of the kingdom that kept the black flag. This became Orinda Ares. The youngest son inherited the wild northern frontier, a land of forests and open wilderness. This became Arch Ares, and their sister was given the southern region, famous for tradition, magic, and poetry. This became Iraja. Despite their differences, the siblings stayed close. Their realms developed their own cultures, but cooperation remained strong. They even built a massive railway linking all 3 kingdoms, proof that Oris and his merchant spirit still guided his descendants. But by the 4th era, the harmony began to crack. In Orinda Ares, King Desolate III, who was nicknamed the People's King, broke tradition. Instead of ruling from the old mountain castle, he moved the capital into the heart of the realm. The common people loved him for it. The elites, not so much. In the western city of Fen, they whispered their concerns and conspiracies. And by the time the king died, chaos erupted immediately. A noble from Fen, Prince Learson, declared himself the rightful ruler. And this time, not just the elites, but a surprising number of common citizens backed him. That's because the new successor, Desalé IV, lacked his father's virtues. He tried to crush the rebellion with brutal force, turning on his own people. That decision sparked a 22-year civil war, bloody and horrible. But in the end, the revolution succeeded. The black flags that had flown for 5 eras came down. Red banners rose in their place. Even the ancient crown was remade in red and set with rubies. Orindia Ares was no more. For the past 100 years, this realm has been known as Fen Ares. Blueprints takes place in this realm, though our mansion is in the secluded mountains of Reddington. It's clear that Fen Ares is repressive. They censor history. They promote propaganda. Swimbird is a book that highlights how impossible it is to be your true self, and that being daring feels just like defeat. But most tellingly, the great railroads that once united the 3 realms were dismantled. Why? When Orindia fell, King Desalé IV and his family were protected by Iraja. Fen Ares wanted their asylum to be revoked, but Iraja said no. To be clear, destroying the railways hurts Fen Ares itself. It damages the trade routes that Orindia was founded on. But maybe that's the point. Fen Ares is constantly censoring the past, but at what cost? This move has surely angered both Iraja and Arch Ares, the once united realms. Angering Arch Ares is particularly foolish, as they were a major ally in the revolution that led to Fen's victory. By disrespecting history and stifling freedom, Fen Ares harms its own future. While we're thinking about Iraja, Mount Holly has some surprising ties to this realm. The foyer has a bust of Queen Jayari, who is likely the founder of Iraja. Herbert tells us Oven Navare, an Irajan expression which means towards north, a new future. North, by the way, is the location of Arch Ares, which I think is quite interesting. In his will, Herbert bequeaths his angel statues to the Grand Cathedral of Iraja. He states that they helped safeguard his family's secrets and trusts that they will do the same for Iraja. What secrets could he be referring to? Well, all of the Fen versus Iraja politics came shortly after the birth of Princess Caitlin Jayari. She is no ordinary noble. Her father is a descendant of Desalé, while her mother is a Jayari, who again is likely a descendant of Iraja's founder, who would also be a direct descendant of Horus. No wonder Fen took aggression, and no wonder Iraja protected the Desalés. Princess Caitlin Jayari has royal legitimacy from 2 realms, and may even claim roots to the original unified Orindia. Now things get even spicier. I believe that Princess Caitlin Jayari is actually Clara Epson, our grandmother. In the tomb, Clara writes a letter in Irajan stating that she is not a Sinclair, she's not an Epson, but rather she's a Jayari. She's not related by blood. Clara's had a secret identity. This explains all of Herbert's interesting ties to Iraja. Her ladyship's chamber is a room that's said to be a fitting tribute to Clara's childhood home in Iraja. Regardless of how you interpret that, the Epson family is at the very least strongly connected to the Irajans, and for one last bit of circumstantial proof, Lionel Epson is Clara's brother, but for whatever reason, he has been gone traveling for many years. He's been gone for so long that even Herbert himself notes this in his will. Why is he so out of the picture? What does he have to hide? Now, it is said that the nobles in Iraja are very private, so perhaps it's not that surprising that we haven't heard about Caitlin since her birth, but consider this. Fen Ares wants the head of Caitlin and the Desalés, so much so that they destroyed their own railways. If Caitlin disappeared, that's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Fen might be appeased, thinking that she's either dead or just out of the picture, while Caitlin's family can rest easy knowing that their child of destiny is safe. Okay, all of this is great, but let's circle back to my original question. Was the life of Mary, who we now know to be the daughter of rare noble blood, was her life worth the crown? Mary had intended to return, but in case she didn't, she left contingencies for her son. Her book, A New Clue, is designed to nudge Simon towards the throne room while also evading the scrutinies of Fen Ares. But why the throne room? Also, it's no secret that Mary wrote Red Prince, the book, with her son in mind. Have you ever stopped to wonder why she wrote him as a prince? Mary was a revolutionary. If not for herself, she stole the crown for her son. Blue Prince is a game of inheritance, that much is very clear, but the nature of that inheritance goes far deeper than just possessions, and what we inherit is entirely our choice. Just like Clara and Mary, Simon shares their noble blood, but Simon is also the son of a commoner. This split represents his two outcomes or choices in life. What sort of baron or prince or commoner will Simon choose to be? We read a beautiful letter from Herbert the day after Room 46. It could have contained directions. Now that you're the baron, here's how you do this, here's how you do payroll, so on and so forth. Instead, we are given a blank slate. The baron doesn't have to be a daunting figure. He could be quiet and unassuming, or loud, brash, and boisterous. He could be deceptive or trustworthy, humble or boastful, or any measure of other things, but always clever. Herbert knows exactly what Mary sacrificed for the crown. If Simon continued her legacy, that would give Mary's sacrifice meaning. But Herbert shows restraint. The strongest nudge he gives us is actually quite beautiful. And now that you have reached your goal and are basking in your well-deserved glory, shiny trophy in hand and showered with accolades and titles, will you be content to stop there? Or will you look to the horizon and wonder what dreams lie ahead? Ovid Navarre, Herbert S. Sinclair. The reason Herbert shows restraint is because he values freedom. Just as we, the player, are free to pursue any number of paths to Room 46, we are also free to choose or decline the path of power. I find it endlessly fascinating that to ascend the throne requires not just the crown, not just the scepter, but also a curse. Do we inherit the dreams of our mother, the cleverness of our great uncle, the birthright of our ancestors, or the common discipline of our father? Our inheritance can be any of these, or none of these. On Mount Holly, the land of blue, we are free to choose. For our final theme, let's discuss the symbolism of colors. Red is the color of Fen Ares. Red is repressive. We see children obsessively coloring it. We read the Red Prince and see right through to its meaning. And the Red Prince we draft have harmful effects in-game. Red is the blood of revolution. Black is the color of Orindia Ares. Black represents trade, industry. Black is every color put together, and so it's fitting that it represents the unified Orindia. The Black Prince we discover are all ancient. Black is the legacy of tradition. But Mary didn't write Black Prince, she wrote Blue Prince. Why? Well, blue is independent of any existing realm. It's the color of the sky, the color of freedom far above Fen Ares. Blue is creation. It's the most frequent color we draft, the foundation of Mount Holly itself. Herbert spent his life creating blue floor plans. Mary fought not for a black realm of the past, but a blue realm of the future. Blue is the synthesis of both of these loved ones who consistently guide us throughout Blue Prince. More than anything, blue is new. It's uncharted. That means we get to choose what a blue realm might look like. In Blue Prince, there is no one truth. Every single player reached Room 46 in a completely unique way. The Eurasian language, which represents magic, is inherently subjective. Accepting that there is no one truth leads us to freedom, and freedom means we choose what we inherit. How much we take and learn from our ancestors is entirely up to us. In Blue Prince, the greatest virtue, as said by Herbert himself, is to always be clever. The greatest number is 8 because it is both concrete and, from a different angle, that subjective lens that Blue Prince loves, 8 can be infinite. There is no limit to ingenuity provided we are free. In our world, there are 7 deadly sins, but here we have 8. In Blue Prince, the worst sin is to be mundane, to waste your life. But if you ask Herbert, he has a more nuanced answer to sin. And here, in the fitting tomb, our deep dive will end with the man who started it all, and I hope you'll think long and hard about it. I think there is no greater sin than to perpetuate tradition that stagnates growth, that strangles purpose, that suffocates dreams. What point is there to live another's life at the sake of our own? Oh, how I wish to have been buried underneath the great oak, overlooking the plains, the wondrous woods, and the worldly mountains, and the wild holly that surrounds the trunk, a perpetual token of sympathy laid across my grave. What dreadful tradition is it that dumped me in this sunless hollow? And if by morbid example, this dark crypt makes any impression whatsoever on you, if reading this letter within these damp halls plants in you a seed of hope, if these words might grant you strength to bend, if not break, these chains, then would I cherish this tomb more than oak and sycamore and spruce, more than the wondrous woods and worldly mountains. This cold stone room would become the most cherished place in all our domain. I would have you raise a shrine upon this spot to commemorate the moment of your liberty, to treat this sepulcher as hallowed ground, to realize that grand gestures can be as effective as they are theatric, and to, in turn, as a recompense for the freedom thus granted you, commit yourself to be buried here, within this mausoleum of dreams, and when the day comes to write your own letter, to inspire the next generation that follows in our footsteps. As is tradition, Herbert S. Sinclair.